Hello guys, hope the last three modules you are finding them interesting. Now the time has come to move to module number 4. There are so many interesting topics covered in this module, so let's get started without wasting any further time. Welcome back to another Python tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to learn how can you do a string format in Python. First of all, one need to have an understanding what is string format, Rakesh, right? One will have that question. So let's get a practical example. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a variable, okay, and here I'm saying the variable name as small text, okay, small text, and then I'm saying the number of products sold today is, right, let's say you want to say 30. So this is a simple string. What if every day this value will change? Today is 30, tomorrow it will be 35, tomorrow it could be 10, 12, right? It could be any number, right? 31. So how do I keep on, I don't want this string to remain a constant one, rather it should be a dynamic one. So this can be done through string format. What I will do, I will create a variable on top of that saying, let's say sold quantity, let's say sold quantity, okay, and I'm going to give it a value. Let's say here the value, this variable value can be easily changed. Let's say whatever value I'm providing over here, let's say I'm saying 35, today's it's 35, and here I'm going to replace this with a curly braces. I'm going to put two curly braces, and here in the variable I'm saying sold quantity, ensure there's no space, okay, 35. Okay, that is done. After that, how do I ensure what anytime I change it over here, it should change the value over here automatically and should print. So for that, all I can do, simply write text is equals to, look at this, very simple, text is equal to text dot, then I have to say format. Format is the function, and then within that, so it will understand the moment whatever argument you are going to pass within this parenthesis, is going to understand, okay, I have to take this value and put it over here. Okay, so here we are going to provide the variable. What is the variable name? Sold quantity. Okay, I'm going to provide the variable name. The moment I provide the variable name, what would happen? It understands, okay, whatever the value this variable contains, it should go and place it here. So it understands automatically when we write format. So let's print this and see the output. Print, and I'm going to say within parenthesis, I'm going to say text. Simple. Did you get this until here? So let's run this. Control S, F5. So what happened? The number of products sold today is 35. Let's say tomorrow is changing. All I have to do, only one place I have to change it, 75. Control S, F5, and you can see it is changing. Now you will say, Rakesh, is it possible instead of putting a variable, can I directly pass the number? Yes, of course you can pass it. It doesn't matter, but variable is a good way. But yes, for learning purpose, yes, you can do it. Let's say I'm going to pass 89. Okay, so some number, let's say today only 5 products got sold, so I'm saying 5. Control S, and if I run this, so what is the number of products sold today is 5. So whichever way you want to do, you can easily format the sentence. This is one of the and this is used in most of the projects. We use the curly braces to ensure the dynamic. Every day if the value is changing, we pass it in that way. Now you will say, Rakesh, what if I also want to show the amount? The number of products sold today is this, and total amount is something. Okay, so again I can use a curly braces. Now here, how do I pass two values? So either you can create a variable and pass it, or directly values also you can pass it. So here let me pass the values directly. All I have to put a comma. Okay, put a comma, and here I'm going to again put a double quote, and here I'm going to pass the string value. Okay, I'm passing the string value, and the value that I want to pass, what if I pass a number directly? That's a 75. Even the number will take, okay, 75, and here I want to say total amount is 1200. Let's say Control S, F5. Okay, so you can see not required that you have to, because format will do the job. Okay, it will automatically format into string, so you don't have to worry about it. Simply I'm giving a number. So 75, 1200 I have passed, and it is going to put that number into the required space. So here you can see it said 75 and 1200. Okay, let's say I want to pass a text. Okay, I'll say nil, and I will say nil. That means nothing was sold today. Okay, now what would happen, because you are not because it is a string, ensure it is quoted, otherwise it will think it is a variable. Okay, and it will throw error. So ensure you try to put it double quote, control S, F5. Getting it? So it is saying product sold today is nil and total amount is nil. Getting it? So this is one of the interesting way of formatting string, guys. So thank you so much for watching it. For all such Python series, Python learnings, please do subscribe to my channel. In this Python tutorial, we are going to learn how to do a string format, and I'm going to teach something in some advanced topics in the format. So look at the sentence here. The sentence is, the number of products sold today is 35 to 5 retailers. It was sold to 5 different retailers, amounting 1,20,000. So there are 3 different data which is available, and this data can change tomorrow. Tomorrow it could be a different value, and day after tomorrow again this could be a different value. So in such a case, when only portion of a string is changing, in that case what we generally suggest to go with the curly braces. Replace all those values with the curly braces. Okay, I'm replacing all the values with the curly braces. Now anytime whatever the new values are coming, I can pass it something like this, text, and I can say text dot, I can say format. You need to format this. How you want to format? The first value, the first curly braces, what is there you send the value 35. The product sold today is 35 to, let's say, 10 different retailers, amounting, let's say, 1,80,000. Okay, so 3 values I am passing. Now if you want to see the value, you can do a print. Use the print command and say text, control S, and run it. So what are you finding here? The number of products sold today is 35, 10 retailers amounting 1,80,000. Okay, so this is happening. Now let's say I want to replace this. So what is happening? The moment you are passing the data something like this, the first value get the index number 0, the second index number 1, the third index number 2, 0, 1, 2, and it will continue how many arguments you would like to pass. So here let's say I want to put the number of retailers here. If I say 0, and here if I say 1, and if I say 2, look at the difference what's going to happen. Okay, control S, and let me quickly run this. The moment you run this, you will find the value which was previously going to this area, sold today, is 35. Now this is going to this area. So remember, this can be interchanged depending on our requirements. Let's say it may happen on a day number of products sold is 35, and also your number of retailers are also 35. So you don't want to pass the same value twice. So what I can do here, because this is there in the index number 0, I will say index number 0, correct, and to number of retailers is also the same. Let's say if it is happening. So you can manipulate just like this, and here because there are 2 arguments, the value of this will become 1. So I will say 1. Getting it? Control S and run this. So what is the output? The number of products sold today is 35 to 35 retailers, amounting so and so value. This value that you're passing, this could be a variable, this could be a string, this could be direct values. Okay, like I have shown. So this is more of a little bit of experiment for you to understand how, when you're passing these arguments, all these arguments has a position. The first one starts with index number 0. We call it in programming language index number rather than position. You say index number is 0, index number is 1, index number is 2, like that. So here, depending on the requirement, what would happen if I pass all 0, 0? Again, it will just do its job. It is going to pass 0, 0. If I'm not using this, even that's fine. Control S. Let's run this. You can see sold today 35 to 35 retailers, amounting 35. Okay, all this can happen. So once you know how it works, that is more important, how it works. So once you know, you can utilize the way it is required for a situation. In this video, we are going to learn how to install the latest PyCharm on your system. So let's see how to do that. We'll start from the very beginning. So the very first thing that you have to do, go to Google and then type download PyCharm. Okay, and the very first link that you find, which is jetbrains.com, and this is where you will be having the option to download PyCharm. We will click on it. So PyCharm is one of the integrated development environment, one of the very popular integrated development environment for Python. Now there are two different options here. One is the professional option, the other one is the community. Professional would cost you. It is only 30 days trial available. After that, you have to pay for the license. The community remains free, right? So with this, we will go with the community edition. Hit on download. Now to save time, I have already downloaded the file on my system. I'm going to double click on the file. This will take a bit of time and you might get a prompt. Hit on yes, the Windows prompt that you get, right? Do you want to allow the app to make changes? Say yes. You might have not seen that. It will come on your laptop. So please click on yes. Okay. Now in this one, how do I install from step by step, right? From the basics we will learn. Now the first one, it tells about welcome PyCharm community edition setup. Hit on next. And it asks you to select the destination folder. So by default, it will be in the program files JetBrains PyCharm community edition. So this is the default folder. In case you would like to change that, you can of course do it. It also gives you the space required is 1.4 GB, quite a huge file, and then space available on my laptop is so and so. I would not change the path. I would keep it as it is, and I'm going to hit on next. Okay, now this is the window where most of us would have question. Now we will go one by one. The first one, create desktop shortcut. So this is quite simple to have a desktop shortcut on my desktop. Now the second one, which says update path variable, restart needed, and it says add bin folder to the path. So I have given a check mark. Now what is the meaning? What is bin? So the bin folder is the folder which would have all the executable files for the application to run, right? So any application you take, there will be a bin folder which is responsible or which contains the executable files to execute the application, to run the application. So now if you want this PyCharm to open in the command prompt, okay, Windows command prompt. If you would like to open PyCharm in Windows command prompt and run codes, then you should select this. So this is an additional option. You might go for it. So generally it will be useful. Sometimes we can use the Windows command prompt and then try to run the Python codes. So this is the option you should give a check. Okay, this generally will allow you to execute PyCharm through the Windows command prompt. Okay, so this is understood. The next one, update context menu. So what is this context menu? I will tell you. So Python update context menu. Yeah, okay, look at this. Here it says, right, when you right click on a file or a folder on a file, then you will have the context menu, open folder as PyCharm community edition project. So this is what it is. If you would like to have this context menu, so when you right click on any file, right, you get a context menu. So in this context menu, you would like to add this open folder as PyCharm community edition. So for that, you need to just enable this specific option. Okay, add open folder as project PyCharm community edition. So this is what about that, and that's about it. And then the next one is create association. What is this dot? What is this? What is the meaning of this? So any .py file that I may be having on my system. For example, if I go to my Python, so these are all the .python files. So now by default, right now it's opening using the idle Python idle. Okay, so when you install Python, So I have already a video how to install Python. I have gone through the complete setup, and this is the latest available Python version. So if you would like to open Python using the IDLE integrated development learning environment, that is the application provided by Python when you install it. So if you want to open any file, then by default this is what it will open it, right? The moment you click on it, for example, the moment I open it, this is going to open in the IDLE, right? It's going to take a little time. If you wanted to open all this kind of a .py file in PyCharm, then you should go ahead and select .py. Okay, that's about it. Now let's select all these options and then hit on next, right? And the next option that you get, select the start menu folder in which you would like to create the program shortcuts. You can also enter a name to create a new folder. So I would leave it as JetBrains. I don't want to change this. I'm going to hit on install. Okay, you can see that on the desktop a shortcut has appeared. Now this is going to take a little time. I'm going to pause it here, and once it is to the end, I'm going to resume back. So I am towards the end of the installation. Now this is the final window where it is going to tell you completing PyCharm Community Edition setup. Your computer must be restarted in order to complete the installation of PyCharm Community. So you need to just restart your laptop. So I want to manually reboot later or reboot now. You can choose any of the option and hit on finish. So that's all about PyCharm, and I'm going to help you out, right? How do you make certain changes, or how do you run Python files, which I'm going to demonstrate in my next video. So here you can see on my system, I have the latest PyCharm available. In this video, we are going to learn in the PyCharm application, how do you change the theme? Many may not like the dark theme and they would like to go back to the light theme, or vice versa. In case you would like to change the theme, all you have to do, click on file, hit on settings, or else you can use the shortcut key Ctrl Alt S. Hit on settings, and then here you have the appearance and behavior. Expand this option, hit on the appearance, and in the theme you can go and select the theme that you need. For example, if I would like to go with the light theme, I will select Windows 10 Light. So you can see the theme of PyCharm has changed. I'm going to click on OK, and here your PyCharm with white theme. Similar way, you can go ahead and change whichever theme you would like. This is a short video. We are going to again meet in the next video where we are going to learn a lot of Python specific topics. In this video, we are going to learn how to create a new project and file in PyCharm, right? How do you create a project? What are these files? Everything we are going to learn from the scratch. Okay, before you learn, the very first thing you should be aware is you should go to your C drive. Go to your C drive, go to users, and then whatever your computer username is, right? Click on that folder, and here you have a folder called PyCharm projects. So this is the PyCharm project folder which would contain your project. So at this moment, I have created a project called as Automate with Rakesh, and the same project resides inside this specific folder. Now let's do one thing. I am going to close this project and going to start everything from the scratch so that you can learn. So I've closed it. So I'm going to delete the folder. So let me do a shift delete, enter. Okay, so the folder has been deleted. So what would happen if I open PyCharm? You can see it has become grayed out. So for you, it will be completely blank. So when you open PyCharm for the very first time, this will be completely blank, and here you would have an option create a new project. Okay, so click on that. Because I have already created a project, I do not see that, but I have an option here, new project. Either wherever you find that create new project, click on it. The moment you hit on new project, this is where most of you will have questions. Rakesh, what are all this? What is this location? What is this environment? Let me help you out. So here what happens, all your projects get stored inside this PyCharm projects folder. C drive uses your username and PyCharm project. This is the main folder. Now here, whichever project you would like to create, you can delete the entire path until PyCharm project, and what, let's say test 1 you would like to create, or test 2, or whatever you would like to create. So I'll give it my own name, automate with Rakesh. This is the project name which I've given. That's all. So you provide a project name, test 1, test 2, whatever you like to do. So once that is done, below this there is something called choose the environment. What is this environment? I'm going to tell you. There are different options. Once you create a project, every project will have its own settings. For example, the project font color, theme, it should be a white theme or a black theme, or let's say different dependencies required for the project to run, right? So all of the settings and the dependencies of a project, right, will be stored inside a specific environment, regardless of how many different other projects you have. You might be having multiple Python projects you will be creating in the future. So for all this specific folder, there will be a specific environment get created, which will be stored inside a folder known as v environment. I'm going to show you that. So right now, if I go to my location, this is completely blank, and I'm asking PyCharm in this folder create something called automate with Rakesh. So the moment I hit on create, it's going to do that. So this much is understood. What is environment? This is, in simple terms, this is responsible to manage settings and dependencies of a project regardless of other Python projects in PyCharm. Okay, this is going to specifically keep the modules saved, whatever the settings you have kept. Now below this, leave all these options as it is. Inherit global side packages, make available to all projects. So leave it as it is. Previously configured interpreter, leave it as it is. There is something called create a main.py welcome script. So you should be knowing, as you are learning Python, you'll be learning Python. The files for Python scripts are stored in the extension .py. For example, if you create a file on Notepad and store it and save it, it will be stored as .txt. Same way, any file will have its own extension. Similar way for Python, if you want to create a Python script file, that will be stored always with .py extension. So here it is only telling you, hey, I am going to create a file for you whose name will be main.py. Now later you would say, I don't want main.py, I would like to give it a different name. Of course you can do that. You can create your own py files, but as you are starting your I'm going to show you that, okay, how do you create your own py files. I'm going to select this as it is and hit on create. Okay, now while it is getting created, let's have a look to the folder. If you see, a folder has been created with automate with Rakesh, and also if you go, there is a folder got created virtual.environment, virtual environment, and this is going to remember all the project settings, dependencies, and all the things about projects, all internal things about the project. For this specific project, is going to store and remember. Okay, you don't have to really do anything inside this, just come out of it. Okay, this is understood. Okay, before this will take a little bit of time to set up itself. Meanwhile, I'm going to show you few important things. Okay, now one thing you would always hear, IDE. What is IDE? IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. IDE. That means to create a script, you need a software on which you will write the Python script and develop the script. So those softwares are known as IDE. So Python IDE. So there are many popular IDEs. For example, PyCharm, Jupyter Notebook, right? One IDE from Python itself, from the python.org, known as Python idle. So let me show you. When you install Python, right? If you type, after you install Python, there's an option to enable, I want IDLE. IDLE means Integrated Development Learning Environment. This is created by Python. So this one, when you click on this, this would appear something like this. So this is a plain window. This is also you can utilize to create your scripts. Okay, here for example, here I printed Rakesh, right? So same thing, you can develop it on IDLE. This is very good for learning purpose. Also, even PyCharm also I can use. So the question here is, Rakesh, which one should I use? Shall I use IDLE, Python IDLE, or shall I use PyCharm or Jupyter Notebook? What should I use to learn PyCharm? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter which application you are using. All it matters is you learn the script, you learn the commands, you learn how to write the syntaxes, you learn everything as a language, right? You have to learn all this. So this is important, not which application or software you are building, that is important. Okay, so to help you, I have created a playlist on my channel. My channel name is Automate with Rakesh, and here is the playlist known as Python videos. Okay, if you hit on the playlist Python videos, and in this video I have created series of contents which is going to help you step by step. If you are a beginner, you do not have any programming experience before, so this is the place where you should start, which I am going to guide you step by step, starting from installing Python, how do you enable ideally, right? All the scripts that I have built initially for around 30 to 34 videos, all I have used the ideally environment. What is ideally, how do you access that, how do you run a py file, how do you create a Python script file, everything, what are variables, different rules, from scratch. If you are a beginner, just by following all these videos you will be expert. Okay, all you do, start following one video at a time. For initial set of videos I am using ideally, and you will learn how to use ideally. Now going forward we will use PyCharm. Okay, so on this PyCharm, first thing I made you aware what is this main.py file. This main.py file, if you go to this folder, here you see there's a file got created known as main.py. .py is the extension of all Python files. Okay, now when you open this in a notepad, if you try with open with notepad or anything like that, you would see, for example, if I do right click open with notepad, you can see just now I have written print, so the print is appearing. So whatever you are going to write in within the PyCharm, everything is going to appear automatically by default for you. Okay, so first of all, what I did, by default whatever things were written I have removed it. And here let's say I would like to print something. Let's say I want to print a value. Let's say I want to do multiplication 3 into 48, right? Now if I hit on enter, what would happen? It comes to the next line. So how do I run a py file in PyCharm? Here you have an option to hit on run. Okay, the moment you hit on run, it will show you the output, and the output is coming in the run console. If you see, this is the run console where you see the output, right? Okay, now the next thing, Rakesh, can I create a different py file, a PyCharm, a Python file? Yes, you can create. For that, all you do, right click, and here you have an option known as new, and here select Python file, new Python file, and here I am going to give it a name. You can give test1, test2, whatever you like. I am going to give my channel name, hit on OK. So what happens, just by doing this, this got created. For example, here I want to print something else. Okay, automate with Rakesh. Let's say I would like to print. Now if you run this, what is happening? It's still printing 144. Do you know why it is still printing 144? Because this is running the main py, not this py. Now to run this specific py, all you do, come to the projects tab, right click on this, and here you have the option run automate with Rakesh. Now if you see name error, name print, print is not defined. Did you mean print? Okay, because I have written P in capital, that's why it's throwing the error. So this is the benefit, you get a lot of hints, right? If there is anything wrong, it will correct you. Okay, now you can see automate with Rakesh has been printed. Getting it? So this is, and here also you have an option to select. Let's say I would like to run from main, then I can select main. If I execute, then the main, whatever you have written in the main will run. If I, let's say, wanted to run execute this specific file, I can select this, run it, so this output will come. Now you would say, do I need 2 files? You really don't need 2 files. Any one you can use to practice commands. So we will first focus on how do you write commands, how do you write syntaxes, what are all this, what are different if statements, how do you write. So for that, all you do, follow this content one by one. You develop in PyCharm or you write that on ideally, doesn't matter. That really doesn't matter. All you have to learn is the command and the syntaxes for some time, and then we will get into all those complex things later. Okay, so just follow the series as I'm teaching you. So this much is understood. So how do you, and one more important thing I'll show you, there is something called Python console here. Okay, what is this Python console? Let me open. So if you simply type Python, not ideally, I'm simply typing Python. So like command prompt, right? Have you seen command, Windows command prompt? Similar way, it is Python command prompt. This we call it as Python shell. Now here I don't have to write print and all, right? For example, 3 into 3, let's say I want to write some lines, so I'll put a double quote, I'll put a hash, and I am going to say into 80, hit on enter. So what is happening, 80 times is going to print that dash. If you see, it has printed 8 times. But same thing, so this is known as the Python shell. But same thing, if I apply here in the py file, right? I'll hit on enter. If I simply say double quote and then I'm going to say multiply by 80, hit on, if I run this, is it going to run? So it did not run, it only executed the first line but did not execute, because when you are using a .py file, you have to really write the command. You have to literally write the command for it. Okay, let me execute, and all these commands are written in lowercase, okay, in Python. So you can see now it has printed the output. But the same thing, if you would like to, instead of using Python console and opening and trying something over here for testing purpose, you can also open Python console. Sometimes you would like to check the command, or sometimes you would like to directly test the output, right? How the output would come. So this is the place where you can type. For example, I want to print star into, so I want to print star 80 times. So I'll put a double quote, put a star multiplied by, let's say 70, hit on enter. So here I'm not using any print command like in that Python shell, right? So without that I can directly print here Python console in case you would like to test something. Otherwise you will stick to this, and this is where you would be learning all your commands of Python. Okay, so I hope with this you must be very clear. Couple of other things if you would like to do, click on the settings, hit on settings. Let's say you would like to change the set theme. I would like a black theme or a white theme. This is where you could come and do that in PyCharm. Let's say you would like to, in the editor window, right, I would like to increase the font size, so you can hit on the font and then increase the size. So all these things you can explore, and this is quite easy, and keep it to minimal settings and hit on OK, and you are good to practice everything on PyCharm. In this video, we are going to learn all the basic Python commands for a beginner. We are going to learn multiple Python commands in this video. So let's get started. So now I have PyCharm on my screen. So first of all, you need to install PyCharm in case you have not done it. I have a separate video. Please do watch it. And once you have installed PyCharm on your system, then all you do, hit on File, New Project, or else you will find a New Project button. If you open it for the very first time, either in the center of the screen or in the right top corner, click on that. This is the window you get. You select the create, keep everything as default, give it a name. For example, here for my project, I have given a name, Automate with Rakesh. You can give test1, test2, or whatever your project name you would like to give. Just replace this Python project to your own name and enable this create a main py welcome script and hit on create. Okay, that's all you have to do. So I have everything I have shown. How do you set up your PyCharm? Please do watch that video in case you would like to learn everything in detail. In this video, we are going to focus on Python commands. Okay, now the very first thing what I will teach you is go to Windows start search and type command. Open the command prompt on your Windows. Okay, so once you have opened command prompt, now I would like to know if I really have Python and which version of Python do I have. So Python, so this is the very first command you should learn. So hit on enter. So this is going to tell I have the latest Python version 3.10.4, right? This is one thing. The another one, if you simply write py, which stands for Python, if you hit on enter, what would happen? This is going to call the interpreter. What is interpreter? For example, if someone is speaking Chinese and you do not have any understanding what is that Chinese language, so you call or you get an interpreter. What he does, he would convert or translate that language, Chinese language, to English language and tell you this is the meaning, right? That is the job of an interpreter. Same way, when I say py, it is calling Python program. Now using Python program, let's say if I type a command, the very first command, let's say I'm going to type print and I'm going to say hello world, right? Hello world. If I type this and hit on enter, what would happen? This is going to print. So this print command is part of the Python program, and which is understanding, hey, when somebody writes this, this should be the output. Let's say I want to add few values, 56, or multiply few values into 45. If I hit on enter, 2520 is the output. So when you see this three angular symbols, right? When you see these three symbols, that indicates you are inside the Python interpreter. So the Python, the moment you write py, it is calling the Python interpreter or the Python program, and whatever commands you are writing, it's going to execute. Now the problem with this is you have to write one line at a time, only one line at a time, and execute and see the output. So definitely you would not continue to use the command prompt, rather you would use an application. So the application here I am using is the PyCharm application. There are multiple applications which are known as integrated development environment, or known as IDE. What is IDE? Integrated development environment, like PyCharm, then you have Jupyter Notebook, right? Python idle. There are multiple different integrated development environment where you can learn your codes. Doesn't matter which one you are using. So PyCharm is one of the popular one. Okay, now in this list we have to learn Python syntaxes. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to teach you is the print command, which just now we saw it. Okay, so if you have to print something, what you are doing, you have to use everything, all the commands that you are writing in Python, everything has to be in lowercase. Remember this, do not write p. The moment I write it in capital letter, what happens, there will be an error. If you see here, there is an error. Okay, one weak warning. So you should always write in lowercase. Simple. Now let's say I want to print something. Now there are two ways to print. I can use a double quote and say Rakesh, and if I have to run this, all I have to do, run this prompt or shift F10, it will give you the output Rakesh. Okay, now the other way to print is, you can, instead of double quote, you can also write single quote. I am writing a single quote, and if I hit on run, it's going to print Rakesh. Or you can use your anything you would like to print. Okay, so double quote and single quote, both the things can be, or both the things are allowed in Python. So this is your first command. Now before you learn, there are a couple of symbols that you should understand. The moment you write hash, right, this is the hash symbol. So what this symbol stands for? This stands for to comment. If you want to comment something, then you will use this symbol hash. So for example, let's say I want to print a sentence, welcome to Automate with Rakesh. After that, here I would like to give a command, print command is used. So I'm writing some kind of a comment just to show why these comments are used. Generally this will help as to why you are building. So you can write something like this. Okay, so print hash symbol is used to, so this, the interpreter is going to ignore this hash. Wherever you are writing hash, is going to ignore the command. Okay, so if I run this, what would happen? The output is coming, welcome to automated bracket. What would happen if I put a hash here? It is going to ignore the entire line and is not going to print anything. See, no output has come. So you have learned the hash command, print command, py, Python space version. Okay, all these three different commands till now you have learned. Now you should be aware there are a couple of names. Okay, what you call this when somebody I'll use a hash, what you call this symbol? This symbol is known as colon. Okay, couple of symbols you should be pretty aware. What do you call this symbol? This one, this is known as semicolon. Okay, now what do you call this one? Tell me, what do you call this one? This symbol is known as parenthesis. So I am using a hash symbol just to comment, okay, so that there will be no error. So this is known as parenthesis. Okay, then what do you call this one? You say it curly brackets. You can say curly brackets, easy word, or you can say curly braces. You can also say curly braces. These are the two different words you can use. Curly brackets is the easy one to remember. Now let's say what you call this one? You call this square brackets or square braces. Okay, simple. And then if I say, what do you call this one? Angular brackets, right? You can say angle brackets or angular brackets, whatever you like. Angle brackets or angle braces. Okay, this one you have learned. And what do you call this one? This is known as double quote, right? Double quotes. What do you call this one? This is known as single quotes. Okay, so you should be aware. So what you do when you are learning the syntaxes for Python, very important thing is you are learning the
words, the commands, and the syntaxes, right? The syntaxes and commands are very important. So maintain a separate book, and in the book, in the notebook, you should write everything that you are learning one by one. Okay, so right, so what you should call parenthesis, you should not call anything else, right? So you have to name it in a proper way. So curly brackets, angle brackets, double quotes, single quotes, hash symbol, right? All this you need to call in a right way. Give a single quote. So you should know everything. So this is clear. Okay, now let's move on and understand. So the very first thing we have learned is print. Let's say if I say x is equal to I want to say one by one we will go. Okay, one by one we will go. Let's say I'm going to give it a value, x is equal to, let's say, 10. Okay, and then I'm going to create another variable. So these are called variables, and I'm going to say y is equal to 15. So what would happen? Remember, any variable that you are creating in Python, right, you do not have to declare the variable type. It's not necessary. The moment the value is added to the variable, automatically it understands this is an integer kind of a variable, right? Let's say I want to say z is equal to in double quotes I am going to say Rakesh. So then z will be a string type. So this is a string type variable. X and y are integer type variables. So for example, if I would like to print these three variables, I can say x comma y comma z when I have to print multiple variables. Okay, if I want to print only single variables, all I have to say print x, right? Like this you can write, or you can say print, then you can say y. Similar way you can say print. Okay, so the print command, what we are learning here, print command in different formats we are learning. The moment I hit on run, what would happen? Okay, so for the z it has given an error, because why? Because z is not a, okay, sorry, so here I have made a mistake. What is the mistake I have done? Tell me. Here I have made a mistake, so I should have written like this. Okay, so this is clear. Okay, now let me run this. If you run this, what is the output has come? The first thing, print xyz, right? The moment I print xyz, if I scroll up, 10, 15 and Rakesh, three things has been printed in this line. Now print xyz, when I did, it printed 10, then it has printed 15, then it has printed Rakesh. Getting it? So this is all about the print command. Okay, now let's say you would like to know, Rakesh, how do I know what you said? Z is a string type, y is an integer type. How do I know this? Okay, so to know this, what I am going to do, I'll again use a print command. You are going to learn one more command here, which is known as type. So if I say type x, so what does this mean? It's going to say what kind of a x is a what kind of a data type. For example, if I run this, it is going to say this is of class int. Int means integer type. It is an integer kind of a data type. Okay, what if I print z, so, or z? The moment I print z, it is going to tell me this is a string kind of a data type. Getting it? So this type function is important, or this type command is important to understand the kind of variable data type it is, or what kind of a data type the variable is using. For that, the type command is used. So you have learned one more thing. What is that? Type. Okay, so this is very clear. Now another thing I would like to teach you, right? What if you would say, Rakesh, I do not want to the moment you are assigning a value, it is understanding. What if I would like to declare the type? I would like to say declaring a data type is known as casting. In Python, when you declare, right, cast, so you call it cast. Cast means declaring the data type for a variable. So this will be known as cast. For example, if I say x is equals to, I will say integer type, and here I am going to mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what is happening? Now the x variable will become an integer type data type. What if I say y equals to string, and here I am printed, I will print a name, let's say Rakesh. So what is happening? Now this y become a string type. Now let's say I would like to print it. Okay, print, for example, if I say print x, what would happen? It is going to print 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? It's very simple. Now I would like to know its type. So if I type, write the function type, and within the bracket I'm going to supply the variable, right, type x. Now here if you see, last time it has printed 1 2 3 4 5 6. The moment I'm using the type function, which is going to tell me, okay, x, what is the type of this data? So it is saying it is an integer type of data. Anyways, you have already declared, but you are trying to test it here. Let's say if I'm going to write y here, now if I hit on run, now it is saying it is a string type. So these are the very, very basic things that one should know. Okay, this is done. So I'm pretty sure you will be making a note of things on your notebook one by one, whatever you are learning. Okay, now let's go to our next set of things that we should learn. Now you will hear about the variables, right? When you create a variable, you hear about different standards. Okay, variable declaration standards, or you say nomenclature, right? So variable declaration standard. So there are three different standard. One is the very popular one is the camel case. What is this camel case? And the other one is Pascal case. What is this Pascal case? And the third one is your snake case. So these are the popularly used different variable types. For example, let me going to show you. For example, I want to say I want to create a variable called employee name is equals to, I'm going to say Rakesh. So this is one way. So what I have done, employee name, so I'm going to say employee name. So here what I'm doing, let me give it a different name. Employee name ABC. So company name is ABC, let's say. Okay, employee name ABC. And here what is happening, okay, in this case what is happening, the very first word is employee, right, and the second word is name, and the third word is the company name. So here what we are doing, the very first word when we are writing, it has to be written always in lowercase, like a camel, right? You can imagine a camel. So always written in a lowercase. And the second one, the first alphabet is written in uppercase, and same thing, the third word, again, whatever number of words you are going to use, everything will start with a capital letter. So this is known as camel case. Now what is Pascal case? This is one way people love to use. This is one of the most popular one. They will start with a lowercase and then capital. They will continue with each word. Now Pascal case is what? They are going to make every word, the first word of every the first letter of every word will become capital letter. So this will known as Pascal case. And what is a snake case? All the words will be in lowercase. Okay, all the words will be in lowercase, and they will be joined by a underscore. They will be joined by a underscore. So this will be known as a snake case. This is very, very important. You cannot declare the variables as you like, but you have to use a specific format. Okay, the format is either you go with a camel case where the first letter will start with a small, the other letters will start with all capital letters of the word, and the Pascal is all the word will start with a capital letter, and snake case everything will be lowercase and joined by a underscore. Okay, this should be very, very clear when you are learning Python or any programming language. These are the three different widely used standard. Okay, there could be other formats also, but these are the three standard variable naming conventions that's being used. So this is very clear. Now the other thing, can I start a variable with a number? Can I start? See, it has given an error. You cannot start any variable name with a number. You cannot have a number. Can I have it at in between? Yes, you can have, doesn't matter. Can I have at the end? Yes, you can have, doesn't matter. There will be no error. Okay, you can see there is no error. Okay, what if Rakesh, can I create a variable? Let me take a very simple example. Let's say I'm going to create a single word variable called name is equal to Rakesh. Okay, can I use a number before that? A variable cannot start with a number. Can I start with at the rate? No, you cannot start with the at the rate also. Can I use an underscore? Yes, a variable can be started with an underscore. You can start a variable name with an underscore, but generally people won't use it. Okay, Now can I use a number at the end or in between? Yes, you can do it. There is no restrictions. Okay, so these are the couple of things that you should know, that a variable should not start with a number. You cannot write or any alphanumeric symbols like at the rate or dollar symbol. All this, all these things cannot be done. Only thing is allowed is underscore, and underscore can be used anywhere. Okay, doesn't matter. Uh, for example, I can put an underscore anywhere I want. Okay, so underscore is allowed, alphabets are allowed, A to Z, capital letter, small letter, everything is allowed. Now if I say name equals to, now one I am writing in uppercase, the other one I am writing in lowercase and giving some other name called John. Now if I do print, what would happen if I say print name, print the variable name, the variable doesn't have to be put inside code. Okay, and then print, I am writing the small name. Now tell me, Rakesh, what would happen here? Is it going to print Rakesh or John? So let me tell you, in Python, the variables are case sensitive. So when you say name, that means this is a different variable. When you say lowercase name, this is a different variable. They are case sensitive. So for example, if I run this, you would say for the first one it has printed Rakesh, for the second one it has printed John. Getting it? So they are case sensitive. Remember, in Python they are very case sensitive. So you have to be very careful about your case while creating a variable. Okay, this is simple. So this much is understood. Now let us learn little bit advanced thing. For example, if I create a variable x comma y comma z, so how many variables? 3 different variables equals to, now in double quotes I'm going to say Rakesh comma, let's say I'm going to say John comma, and I'm going to write Harry. So what would happen at this point? So there are 3 different variables in the beginning and there are 3 different values that I have declared at the end, right? So in this case, what would happen if I say print, for example, I want to print y. What I'm printing? I'm printing y. So what value will be printed? John should be printed. If you see, John has been printed. Getting it? So this is a list of multiple values I'm assigning into multiple variables in a single line. Just in a single line, I am doing all this. Is it clear? Okay. Now let's do one more thing. What if I would like to print everything? Print, I want to say x comma y comma z. So I'm printing 3 different things. So in this case, when I hit on enter, it will say Rakesh, John and Harry. It is printing all the things. Now the same thing I will teach about another operator. So what would happen if I say x? Look at this, x, then I am writing plus y, then I am writing z. So what is going to happen here if I run this? Look at the print, look at the difference. The moment I use the comma operator, there were spaces. The moment I am using plus operator, it is just concatenating the values, the string values, and there is no space. It is just adding all the values. Getting it? If it would have been an integer, if it would have, for example, instead of, I will say 5 and I will say 100 and I will say 5 again, right? Now look at the output. What would be the output? The first one, it has printed, because I have used a comma operator, 505, 3 different values were printed. The moment I am using a plus operator, because they are integers, because they are still strings. Why they are still strings? I am using double quote, so it has just concatenated all the values. The moment I remove the double quote from all of this, what would happen? It is going to add the value. This is very important thing to notice and understand. So let me run it. So what would happen? Now the second output is 110. The first output is, it has just printed the values. So this is clear? Very good. So you have learned so many things now. Now let's get on to the next thing that we should learn. Now let's say, Rakesh, what if, right? What if I would like to give multiple, another thing that I should teach you. For example, if I say Rakesh, so what would happen here? All the 3 variables will only have one value.
that is Rakesh. For example, if I say print x comma y comma z, it is going to print all the variables going to hold the same value. So this is one way, okay, assigning single value to multiple variables in one line. So this can be done in Python. Okay, so all these Python codes are becoming clear, right? Very simple ones and easy ones, and the basics for you Python beginners. Okay, these are the basic commands, Python commands or Python codes for a beginner. Now let's say I am going to teach you one more thing. Let's say I'm going to create a variable called my city name. Now tell me, what is the variable standard I'm using? Which case I'm using? Is it a Pascal case, or is it a camel case, or is it a snake case? This is a tell me, this is a camel case, right? Camel, it appears like a camel, right? Starting from low and upper and upper. So it's a camel case. And in this camel case, I am going to define in my city names. Okay, so it will have list of city names. So list of city names, if I have to define, this is known as a list or a collection of different data in one variable. For example, if I say Bangalore, okay, comma, if I say let's say Goa, comma, then if I say Delhi. Okay, now there are three different city names. There are three different city names in one variable, right? Now what if I would like to assign this three different values to three different variables? So what I will do, x comma y comma z, these are three different variables, equals to, I'm simply going to hit on tab and select the my city names. So in this case, what happened, all the three different values that were there in one variable, now it will be distributed to these three variables as per the line. So Bangalore will go to x, Goa will go to y, z will go to Delhi. Now let's print and see this. Okay, print, I'm going to print x comma y comma z, hit on enter. Now let's run this. Now what happened? Bangalore, Goa, Delhi. Now what if I would like to only print the value Delhi? So print, and I'm going to say capital of India is colon space, and I will give it a comma, and I'm going to print Z. Okay, because G will be having Delhi, right? So if I do this way, if I write this way and run it, what will happen? Here it is saying capital of India is Delhi. Getting it? So these are a couple of interesting things where we have created a list or a collection of data, and we are trying to unpackage this collection into three different variables. I'm doing an unpacking of collections, and then trying to print the values of it. So this must be pretty clear. Okay, so you learned about comma operator, plus operator, you learned about cities. Okay, all these things are pretty clear. Now one more important thing I am going to teach you. For example, if I say x is equal to 10 and y is equals to let's say 100, x is equal to 10, y is equal to 100. What if I want to create a additional I need to write a code to add these two variables? So what I will do, there is something known as functions. So what is this function? You will be pretty clear. For example, if I say add function, I'm going to create, you can give your own name. Okay, here I am giving a name called add function, and all this function has to be started with def, means define. Def means define and give it a name, your own name, test function, add function, whatever name you would like to give it your own name. And here I'm going to have a parenthesis and colon. See, I should use the proper words, parenthesis and colon. So this is the way you create a function. So you'll be very clear the moment I design this. So what I have done, I hit on enter. The moment I hit on enter, there's a white space at the beginning, and the moment the white space is very required, very much required. You can't remove the white space because there will be error. There has to be a white space. Okay, so here you should come, hit on enter, and there has to be a white space. And here what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply say print x plus y. I'm going to add these two values. Okay, and then hit on enter. Again it has a white space. I want to close the function. I'm going to say add the function name, and done. So what this will do, Now you should have understood x and y are two different variables, and in this one we are using this two variable values inside the function called add function, and using this I am going to print the value. So if I hit on run.
So what is the benefit, Rakesh? Why you can simply say print x plus y and print it, right? And it'll give you the same output. So when you create a function, this function can be called n number of times. You can call these functions n number of times in your project. So you can use this if you want to add two values multiple times in a project, you can call it. This is a little advanced thing which I'm going to teach you later, but at the moment you should only remember how the function works. How do you define a function? How do you type a function? Okay, this is clear. So this is how it is giving a value. So now the value is 110. What if I'm creating a scenario? What if I will say x is equal to 500 here? So the output will, so if I define 500, is it going to take this value of x or is it going to take this value of x? So let's see that it will always take within, so this is known as the global variable. Okay, anything outside of the function, if it is created, that will be called as a global variable. Anything created inside the function, you can call it as a local variable. Getting it? So what would happen here? What value will be printed? Because inside the function, this is a function, right? So inside a function, when you are defining a value of a variable, is going to take precedence. So if I run this, the output should say 600. Okay, so this is understood. Now what if I wanted to define a global variable inside the function? So this is slightly advanced, but again it is okay. So I'm saying global x. So what does become? The x is already declared, but again I am trying to declare it within the function. So this become a global x. Okay, this has become a, okay, one more thing I forgot to teach you. X is equal to 500, and what would happen if I print outside of the function? Okay, for example, here the value has come 600, but here it will still take the value of the global variable. For example, the first print has given the value 600, but the second print has given the value 10 because it is using the global variable value. Clear? Okay, so this is clear. Now what would happen? Can I do something like this? For example, I will say global x. That means I'm saying x variable is a global one now. Hit on enter. Hit on enter. So why it is giving a red color? Because I've written in capital letter. So all should be in lowercase. Global x. Okay, done. Now here in this line, I'm going to say x is equal to let's say 800. Now tell me, when this line will execute, is it going to print 800 plus y is equal to 900, or is it going to print 110, and what will be the output here? Okay, so let's run it. So what happened? Because we have made global x and given a variable 800, even in the second line the value has come 800. It has overwritten the primary value, and here inside this anyways it has printed 800 plus 100, and it has shown the output as 900. So these are slightly, we are going into a slightly advanced mode, but again these are the basic set of things that we have learned today. Okay, starting from your print command, starting from different colon, semicolon, what are those, and then we have checked the Python version, py, right, and then type x. So a lot of things that we have learned in this video. So please do practice once again and make a note of everything that you have learned in this video. Hey guys, would you like to learn list of Python string commands in one video? So here is the video for you. Myself Rakesh, and I welcome you back to my channel. Please do subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay up to date. So let's get started and learn list of Python string commands. Okay. Now the very first thing what I'm going to teach you, let's say if I have to print a word, right? So there are two different ways to print. One is you can use double quote and say hello, and the other way to print is simply by saying print, and then what if I say single quote and write hello, right? There are two different ways to do that. So if I run it both the way, I am going to get the value hello and hello.
Okay, in both the things, when you run it, it is going to print hello and hello. So it doesn't matter if you are using a double quote or a single quote. So that should be your first learning point. To define a string, you can either go for a double quote or with a single quote. Okay, that is the first thing. Now the second thing, how do you assign a value to a variable? For example, I'm creating a variable called a equals to, and I'm going to say hello. Okay, so this way, is it going to really assign this value to a? Let's check that. To check that, all I have to do, I'll use a print command, and then within parenthesis I will write a. Okay, so with that, if you run this, what would happen? In the first line, the hello value will be assigned to the alphabet a or the variable a, and here it is printing hello. Getting it? So this is, this is the way to assign value to a string variable or a variable. Okay, so this is done. Now let's say, how do I assign, let's say this is what is happening right now, it is printing only one word. How about if I print multiple words? Let's say I would like to print something like that. Hello, my name is Rakesh. I am teaching Python, right? If I write everything, now you will have a question, Rakesh, how do I really do this, right? How everything can be written in one line and assigning it to one variable. Let me tell you, all you have to do for this, use 3 double quotes at the beginning. I'm going to remove all this. Okay, remove all this. 3 double quotes at the beginning, right? And at the end, I will write 3 double quotes. Start with 3 double quotes, end with 3 double quotes. Now in this way, you can print multi-line text, right? So if I hit on run, you can see, hello, my name is Rakesh. And now here the question, why the space has come? Okay, because you have given a space here, or I have given a space here. Let me remove the space. Okay, getting it? So just by doing this, what would happen? I can print everything, 3 different lines in one, by giving the assigning the value to one variable. Okay, so this is clear. So multi-line string assignment to a single variable and printing that, this one we have understood. Now another interesting fact I will tell you. Let's say if I am defining something called a is equals to, and I am saying hello world. Okay, so this is a text which has been assigned to the variable a. Now remember, in Python, the strings are stored in an array format. Strings are stored in an array format. What do I mean by that? For example, if I say print, right? Let's say I'm going to assign a value called x is equal to, if I say print a in square bracket, I'm going to say 0. What does that mean? Or in simple way, if you want to directly print, let me print this way, a hello world, print a, right? What I have done, a in square bracket, I have written 0. So what I said, the strings are stored in an array format, and this is the index number. Let me first show you. Okay, if I run this, what happens? The first value got printed, known as h. Okay, interesting. Now let's do one thing. Let's type print, and then I'm going to say a, and I'm going to put a square bracket and write 1. Right now, if I do this, what should I be, what it is going to print? First it is going to print h, then it's going to print e, isn't it? So you can see he got printed. Now if I repeat this several times, let me copy, paste, enter, paste, enter, paste. Okay, and I'm going to change the number. Let's say 2, and then come down and I will say 3, and I'm going to come down, I will say 4. Let's say, let me print one more, and I'm going to come down and say 5. Now what would happen by this? If I run this, it's going to print, if you see, HELLO, comma. So what happened? The first letter is donated by the index number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and comma is there in the 5th position. Okay, it's the position numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that way I can print hello. Okay, interesting. What if, Rakesh, you will say, Rakesh, what if I want to print everything at a time? Okay, that can be done. Let's say I'm going to say print, and then I'll say a in square bracket. I'm going to mention from 0 to let's say 5. Okay, 0 to 5 I want to print. Okay, now if I do this, what would be the output if I hit on run? So the output is hello. What would happen if I say 7, 0 to 7, and I'm going to run this? What's going to happen? Hello comma space. What if I say 8? So what's happening? Hello W. So how this one is working, the moment I say the first one is the starting point and this is the stopping point, right? You start from the position number 0 and stop at 5th. So 5th will stop. So it is going to retrieve anything before that. For example, if you count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th position is the comma. So when I type this, do I see a comma in my output? No. If I need a comma, then all I have to do increase the position to 6th. Nothing but the space. The space is also counted. Now if you see, the output would come hello comma. Getting it? Now you will say, Rakesh, why do you really have to write a 0? What if you remove this? Right? Simply write :6. So if I do this, it is going to print hello. So that means it is going to start from the beginning till the 6th position. Okay. What if you are going to say, start from the 6th position, starting point is 6, and the end point I am not going to mention. Getting it? I am not going to mention the end point. If I run this, what would happen? You are getting world, right? 6th position, starting point 6th, but there is a space also included. If you see, there is a space got included. I don't want the space. Okay, then do change it to 7th and run it, and you are going to get world. Okay, so from here what you are understanding that the strings in Python are stored in an array format, and using the index number we can fetch the values as we need, right? If I say 0, is going to fetch the first value of the alphabet or first value of the variable, the string variable, right? So this one you have understood. Now the next thing, what if I would say, is there a way to print the length of the string? What is the total length of the string? Yes, we can do that. For that, you have to learn a function known as length. Okay, for example, I'll create another variable and I'm going to say x is equals to, and I'm going to say len, length is the function, right? These are all built-in functions, and here just I have to provide the value, the variable a. So by that, what would happen? It will check what is the word there in this, and it is going to count the length and going to show me the output. So if I say print and x, it's very interesting, right? So very simple way, and with the easy way we can do it. Now if I run this, it is going to count the length of a and is going to print the value here. It's going to assign the value to x, and the x got printed as 13. Now if you count manually, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13, so there are 13 characters in this string. For example, to make it simple, what if I type one word? Let's say I'm going to type w. Okay, now if I run this, how many one word is there? If I say word, how many words? You say there are 5 different characters. So this is the function that you should make a note. len in the bracket, you provide the variable name. Pretty simple. Okay, len length, that's in Python string command. Now what if let's say I'll give a word. Okay, let me give it a word, and you need to find something. For example, welcome to automate with Rakesh. So in this entire string, so this is the string. In this entire string, if I have to find if automate word is there, if the automate word is there or not. Now to do this, there is a keyword known as in. What is the keyword? In keyword. So how to use this in keyword? Let me show you. For example, if I'm using a if statement, if what I want to find, the word welcome, so I'm going to write welcome in double quotes. In is the command. If welcome in a, that means if welcome is there in the variable a colon. So these are the very important syntaxes that you should learn. If welcome in a, right? Then what I want to say, print yes. I'll say yes. right? Else. So to write else, you have to go back because the white space is very important. Okay, else equals to, hit on enter. So if you see, by default there's a white space. If you remove the white space, there will be error. Do you see there's an error? So definitely you have to have a white space while you are writing if commands, for each, or any function. When you are writing, that represents a block of a code. It's a block of a code, so that block has to have a white space, mandatory in Python. So here I'm saying else print no. So we'll do a little bit of experiment with this. Let's see, it will be very interesting. Okay, so I've written all the commands. Now if I run this, so what is saying? Yes. What if I type a word, let's say hello. If hello in a, so the output will be no, it is not there, right? Similar way, the alternative way is not in a, then print not present. So just the opposite word. Okay, in is the keyword. If you write not in, it will just do the opposite. Yes, yes, it's present. So in is the keyword and not in, just the opposite task it will do. So hello, is it present in this word? So it should say not present. Should say not present. How about if I say automate? If I run this, should say yes, present. Getting it? So this is how you will be using the command in to find a word in Python. Okay, in a string, the command is in that you have to use to find a word in Python. From a string, you have to use the command in. So that is understood. Now next thing we are going to learn, how do you change a word from uppercase to lowercase? For example, if I say x is equal to, and I'm going to write hello. Okay, so this has both uppercase and lowercase. Now if I have to convert this to lowercase or uppercase, so all I have to do, simply have to say a dot upper and parenthesis. So that why we are giving a parenthesis, that means it's a function, it's an inbuilt function. And now if I say print x, right, print x, if I say, what would happen? It's going to convert the a value to uppercase and going to print. So if I run it, you will see the hello has been printed, isn't it? Now what if I would like to convert it to lower? So I will again say x is equal to a dot, and variables are case sensitive. I cannot write a. Okay, this will give error. So they are case sensitive. So a, and I'm going to say lower, and then close the parenthesis. So now if I print x, what would happen? What value would I get? I'm going to get the hello in a lowercase. So let's run this and see the output. So hello, one is in uppercase, the other one is lowercase. Now what if I print just a? It will print the normal assigned value, what was there initially, right? So if you run this, hello, hello, and hello. Getting it? So these are important Python string commands. Okay, this is understood. Now the other thing I will teach you, one more function which is again very easy. Let's say if I have a space, I have a couple of space. Okay, I have a couple of space. I would like to remove the space. Now to remove the space, the function for this is a, the variable name, dot strip. Okay, strip means you trim it or strip it. In Python it's strip. So trim function I have used, hit on enter. So whatever the white space will be there, it will be removed. For example, first I would like to print a, which with the white space, and I would like to print x. Okay, so that way you will be able to differentiate. For example, let me give some white space also in the beginning. It's going to remove any white space in the beginning and in the end. Okay, that's all. So if I run this, what happened? The first a, when it got printed, it had got a couple of white spaces in the second one, and also it has got white space in the end. If you click here, you can see. So here it has printed, it has removed all the white space. Now you will say, Rakesh, what if I have two words? Okay, let's do that. So I have two words. Is it going to remove this white space? No. The strip will only remove the white space in the beginning or end of the string. So if I run this, you will see the hello world, the a with the primary one, how it was, and the second one where the entire thing has been removed. Okay, there is no space. Okay, there is no exact space in the beginning or at the end has been removed. Okay, so this is what did we learn? What is the next command we learn? A dot strip. Strip means trimming out the
white space or removing the white space, right? Okay, let me teach you another basic thing. Okay, let's say I'm going to assign a value hello. Okay, and I'm going to assign a value world. These are the two different words. Okay, now if I say print concatenate, I mean, how do you add two words, right? This is also very important, very useful. So how do you add two words? So all I will say a plus b. So by doing this, what would happen? What is the output that would come? Hello world. But again, there is no space. Let's say I would like to give a space. So for that, all I will do, I'll use a double quote, give it a space. Inside this, I'll write a plus. So if I run this now, what would happen? Hello world with a space has come. Okay, these are also very important things. Appears to be very simple, but again, it will be useful. Okay. Now this is one thing that you would love, that is how do you do string formatting. Okay, string formatting. So how to do string formatting? Let me teach you. For that, let me write something called, let's say I'm going to write a variable called age equals to, I'm going to give it a value called 28. Okay, and I will write a word a, and here I'm going to say my name is John and my age is, right, and I want to write something. I'll give a space, and generally to write, what you do, you give it a plus sign, right, and then you will write that variable age. Okay, now with this, what would happen? There will be error because this is a string and this is a integer. So generally, when you run, it will give an error. Can only concatenate string, not integer to string. So what I will do, I'll put this 28 in double quotes and run it. So now what happened? Okay, so I did not print it. So let me say print, and I will say a. Okay, so if I run this, what happened? My name is John, and so this is printing as normal. What if I'm going to remove the variable? I don't want to use the variable. Rather, I would print in a different way. So I'm using a curly braces or curly brackets I'm using. Now in the curly bracket, what I will do here, the variable is holding this, so I'll say a dot format. Okay, this will be very useful. So make a note how I am writing the variable name dot format, and here in the bracket I am passing the variable. Getting it? So what would happen just by doing this? It will take the value of a and it will format that, and then it is going to print. How it will format? The age, the variable age will be kept inside this curly braces. If I run this, it will be very clear. So what is happening? See, I am just printing this sentence. So how it is printing? It is saying 28. Now what if I would use one more, and I stay in London, let's say, and I stay in London, and I'm going to use another curly braces. Okay, and here I'll create another variable city. What is the variable name? City is equals to, and I'm going to give it a name London. Okay, so I stay in London. So this London variable which I have hard coded, I'm going to remove it. And how do I pass this value to here? It's again pretty simple, age comma city. Okay, so if I do this and if I run this, what would happen? The first one, age 28, would go here to the first one. The second variable value will go to the second one, and you can see the output has been printed. My name is John and my age is 28 and I stay in London. Getting it? So how it is passing? Now you will say, Rakesh, is there another way? I have seen people have writing 0, 1. What would happen? Okay, even that can be done. For example, if I write 0 here and if I write 1 here, what would happen? 0 indicates the first variable in the format bracket, and 1 indicates the second one. Likewise, more variables you have to add more numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So if I run it here, what would happen? Even this is going to give me the output. So you can see it has given the output. Now what would happen if I say 1? Look at the fun part. If I say make it to 1 and make it to 0, what would happen? So logically, 0 means what? Age. So age will be typed here. I stay in 28, and city means 1, right? The index number is 1. It will be printed here. So if you see, my name is John and my age is London and I stay in 28. right? Completely are different. So you had made an understanding. So how to write this? Okay. So for example, if I put city here and write age here, right? Age is the second. Now in this case, the city, see, the moment you write it capital, it will become a problem. Because these are case sensitive, the variables are case sensitive. So city comma age. So city is the 0 index, so where the city should go here, and age is 1 index, so it should go here. Now if you type, my name is John and my age is 28 and I stay in London. Okay, so that has come properly. So these are a couple of important things, right? You can pass in. Let's say I would like to add one more value. What should I add? Um, and then city, age, company. Let's say company. Okay, company. But again, this is not declared. So what I will do, I'll declare it here. Company equals to, let's say I work in ABC. Okay, so three different variables that we have defined, and here I am going to say I work in a company named, okay, and I'll leave it and I'll use a curly braces, and in the curly braces, so 0 1 2, if I mention 2, what happened, the variable with the position number 2, so it'll start with 0 1 2 will be added over here. So you can define where you would like to have that, it's up to you. And I work in company named ABC. Okay, this is also one of the important Python string command, dot format. Okay, so multiple things that we have learned. I hope you have already made a note of all of this and you will be able to take benefit. So this basic set of Python string commands are really important for you to remember. It should just come automatically, you don't have to recall. So if you practice multiple times, it will be there in your fingertips. So thank you guys. So that is the set of Python commands that we have learned through this video. We are going to once again meet in our next video. Until then, please do take care and do subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon to stay up to date. Would you like to know what are escape characters in Python? Then this is the video for you. Myself Rakesh, I am from the channel Automate with Rakesh. Please do subscribe to my channel and hit on the bell icon. So let's understand what are these escape characters. Okay, what is it? For example, if I create a variable called a, and here I am going to enter a sentence, right? For example, my name is Rakesh and I teach Python. So this way, this is a pretty simple sentence, and I can highly, I am highly pretty sure that I can go ahead and print this without any problem in this printing. But there are times when in a sentence you would like to use a double quote, right, or a single quote. So in this case, what is happening, there's already a double quote at the starting of the sentence and end of the sentence, and in between you are trying to enter a double quote because that word has to be quoted. Now if the word has to be quoted in Python, this will throw error, this will not allow you. Now for this to function, there is something called escape character. So escape means it will tell Python, hey, there is a special word, it has to be treated differently. That means the moment I put a backward slash before that double quotes, that means it understands, hey, I need to type what? I need to type the double quote here. So it will not consider as part of the code, but it will consider as a string. Getting it? So this is the backslash here is the escape character. Okay, so how I have used, you see. Okay, now if I run it, there are a couple of other things I am going to tell you. So now you can see the Python was printed in double quotes. So that suffice the need that if I have to type something in double quote, this is one way. The other simple way, let's say I am using a single quote. If I'm using a single quote for the entire string and I don't want to use escape character, let's say a single quote, then because the string is starting with a single quote, then it will allow the double quote. Now if I print, if you see, without an error, it is printing. What if I want to put a single quote? Will it allow me? Instead of a double quote, if I put a single quote, right? If I put a single quote, it is definitely throw me an error. syntax error. Getting it? Now again the same thing applies. I have to use a escape character. So what are we learning from this? The escape character means, let's say if there is a string where the double quote is used to define the string, and inside that string I would like to use one more double quote, then it is not allowed. To allow it, I have to use the escape character, that is the backward slash before the quote, and any number of times you are using the quote, before that you have to use a backslash, and that would allow it. Now if I print, it is printing. Getting it? So that is one thing. The other one very important part I would show you, many times you would like to print a word below the other, right? Below the other. For example, that can be achieved in different ways. But let's say I want to print hello, and below that I want to print word or anything. Let's say my name is Rakesh. My name is Rakesh, and Rakesh, this is one word, and below that I want to print I teach Python. Now how do you print this? How do you print? So there is also escape character for this. I'm going to show you in a while. So enter. Now what would happen if I print this? It is just printing everything in a single line. Now I want the second line to be printed in the bottom. So all I have to do, I have to use an escape character and say n. N means new line. Okay, this is one of the important and very useful one. Okay, here you can see my name is Rakesh and I teach Python. This has come one after the other. Okay, so there are multiple such escape characters, but these are the very common ones which are used. The backslash and the backslash n. There are multiple things, backslash r, double backslash. There are so many things, but these are the most useful escape characters. Okay, so that's all about it for the video. So thank you guys for watching it. We are going to meet once again in our next video. Keep making your note, keep building your notebook with new syntaxes that you are learning every day from the videos. So please do follow this playlist. Please do follow the Python playlist which I have created, and continue to learn Python in an easy way. Thank you guys. Please do subscribe and please do hit on the bell icon. We are going to meet once again in our next video.
Hey guys, if you're using PyCharm and if you would like to enable or disable this parameter info. So what is this parameter info? The moment you are typing any code, right? For example, print, and then I'm hitting on a tab. If you wait for few milliseconds, what happens? There is a pop-up that appears, right? In case you would like to disable it or you like to enable, you must be looking for the option to do it in the settings. So all you do, go to the PyCharm, and here we have 3 dots, or you will have a settings button. Click on that and open the settings tab, configure editor tabs. Okay, so you'll have a settings button. Just open the settings tab. Now in this settings you have something called editor. Go to editor, go to general. Okay, now under general you have something called code completion. Okay, code completion. Let's say to disable this parameter info, all I have to do is uncheck. If you would like to enable, click on it. So disable and apply and OK. Now if you see, if I type any code, the parameter info which was appearing, right? Hit on tab. So the parameter info has stopped appearing. Okay, so this is the way, this is the place in PyCharm where you can enable or disable the parameter info balloon or the pop-up that is coming in the PyCharm.
Hey guys, in this video we are going to learn what are Python booleans. So boolean values we have heard is a true or false, and how this is utilized in Python. In this video we are going to learn. Myself Rakesh, please do subscribe to my channel. Please do hit on the bell icon to stay up to date. So let's learn. Let's learn what are these Python booleans, right? For example, if I write print and I'm going to say a statement 100 is greater than 99. Now tell me, what would be the output? Is it going to print 199 because I am asking it to print like this, or is going to evaluate the value and say me whether it's true or not? So it's going to evaluate. So you can see it is going to evaluate and saying true or not. Let's say if I put a double quote around this, so then what would happen? Then it is going to print the values. So if you see, it is going to print the values. But if you don't put a double quote, it will take it as a mathematical evaluation, and it will evaluate and give me the output whether it's true or not. If I interchange, let's say 99 is greater than 100, if I say, so what would happen? This is a false statement, so it is going to say false. Getting it? Now let's take some practical example of Boolean values. Okay, for example, here I am going to assign a value. A is equal to, let's say I'm going to say 700, and let's say B is equal to, I will say 500, right? And I'm going to use a if statement, and I'm going to say A is greater than B. If A is greater than B, colon, the syntaxes are very important, and the indent or the white space given when I come down below the if statement. Else, if A is greater than B, then what I'm saying, print what? Print A is greater. So I'll say A is a variable. I'll say comma. See how I am writing, the syntaxes are more important. A, comma, and in double quotes is greater than, let's say I want to say B, greater than B. So I'm using a comma and writing it. Okay. After that, else. The moment you type else and put a colon, automatically it will shift the code to the left side and hit on enter. So here I will say print, just the opposite I will write. So what I will do, let me copy this and paste. Okay. Okay. Now here I will say B is greater than A. Okay. Now if I run this, what would be the output? Because A value contains 700 is greater than 500 same. Let's say what if I make it to 200 and run this. So now it will say B is greater than A, it will say 500 is greater than. So this is the more practical example of Python Boolean symbols. Okay, so this will be very useful in a later stage. So right now learning the syntaxes and learning what would be the output is important. Okay, now next thing what we will do, we will try to I'm going to teach you one more thing. Okay, for example, if I say print, let's say I'm going to give it a value to a variable called x. Let's say I'm going to give it a value called 150. Okay, I'm giving it a value 150 and saying print. There is something called is instance. This is one of the method or function, is instance x is int. That means I am trying to evaluate if the variable x is an integer type or not. So if you run this, the print would print the output, yes, true. What if I am going to put a double quote in the value? So it will become a string. Now the output become it's false, right? Because it's not an integer type. So if you want to evaluate a variable whether it's an integer or not, this is how you can do it. Print is instance, and in the bracket I'm writing. So Python codes are pretty simple to remember. All you have to do is, keep on writing on a single notebook, and every day try to refer it. Anytime you want to use this, refer the book. It will help you, and practice it multiple times so that it will be on your fingertips. Well done. Congratulations for completing the module number 4. Very good job. Now the time has come to move to module number 5.